Yeah.
He said
we used to go and watch Belgium.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Fans Forum. Thank you for coming tonight. Good turnout, it's good to see. I'm sure there'll be lots of lively debate and good questions. Let me introduce you to the panel. Nathan Rooney, Assistant Head Coach. Gabriele Cioffi, Head Coach. Selim Gaygusuz, who is our Director of Football. And the gentleman on the end is Erdem Konyar, who's our consultant to the chairman, who actually brokered the deal when Mr. Erin took over the club 3 years ago. The piece of paper that you've all been given, the list of players that we've signed this season, which you probably all know, more interesting perhaps are the figures at the bottom of the sheet of paper there, which shows how much investment Mr. Erin has put into the club since he came here in 2016, and the amount that we have taken in player sales, and also the playing budget, which as you can see has increased over the last 4 seasons. I think probably we should start maybe with any questions about that side of things, the budget, the playing budget, before we move on specifically to the players, which is why Erdem's come along as well to answer any questions. So we'll start with Paul.
Good evening, gents. Nice to finally come to one of these fans forums. Had the same seat here at the Broadfield for 21 years. Seen the good times, seen the club at the bottom of the league, seen them come back from the brink of bankruptcy, and seen investors come and go. But what I can't work out about this investor is that you say that you want to put money into the club. I don't blame the coaching team, they can only be given the tools that they've been given. But how on earth can you justify performance out there based on the figures there? These players are not up to league standard. Why don't you give them men the money to back this club and keep us in the Football League? Because if you don't, it will cost them 2 men their jobs, it will cost you supporters walking out the ground, and also, like many, people won't come here tonight because they're frightened if they say something, they're going to get banned. Well, that's what I've been told. So all I can say is, are you going to invest in this manager and more players to keep this club up? Because if not, we will get relegated into the conference.
Nice friendly start.
Nice and friendly. See as it is, Bruce. That's what people are thinking. They just won't say it.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Firstly, I don't agree with your opinion on the squad not being good enough. As you can see from the players that have been recruited, they've been predominantly from the league above.
Can you use the microphone?
Sorry. They've been predominantly taken in from the league above, League One Championship. And if you've written off these players right now and said they're relegation material, that's unfair on these lads. Because they tried hard, they're playing well away, you need to believe in them. I know we're in a situation that's not good, and in the sense that we're 9 points off relegation, we don't want to be there. But our budget is a top 10 budget, so this squad has been backed. You can see from the budget, it's a 1.88 million budget, which is a top 10 budget. And there's some players, unfortunately, that have come in, hasn't worked out. We've got 14 games now, where we all have to be united, including yourselves. And we have to do our best. We all know how important it is to preserve our EFL status. It matters more to me than it does to you, believe me. Or it matters just as much to you, believe me.
Owners come and go, supporters stay.
Yes, but I'm a support for life as well. And it's up to you. Now you'll see. Your time can only show. Now you can say I can be talking rubbish, but believe me, I'm ambitious, we're passionate, we're going to do everything we've got to keep this club here, and we keep on building. Every year the squad value has grown. The amount of investment that has gone into the club has grown every year, as you can see on the sheet.
See that? But so why have we sold players like James Collins, Enzio Bogawin, Mark Collins, and you haven't reinvested that in the squad for Gabriele and his team?
But we have. With James Collins, it's all on the sheet. But listen,
figures can be moved about.
Listen, believe me, right? If the chairman himself has put in £3.2 million of his own money and hasn't taken a penny since the first day he bought this club. Now, I don't know what else I can open up to you for you to believe me, but the figures are there, the facts are there. I mean, you don't believe my word, I'll take it, but everything's there. So it's there in black and white, and no one's playing with any figures.
So if we got a top 10 budget, you say,
Yes.
why are we near the bottom of the
Because
list?
it happens. Notts County's got 3 million. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. But we have to stay united. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep believing. Look, we're a smaller club. Whether you like it or not, 1 minute, please. Whether you like it or not, this team has been in the EFL for 8 years, right? In total, I believe. So it's a fairly new club in the EFL terms, in the sense of surviving. So when you come into Crawley Town, of course we're ambitious. Of course we want to go up. I believe that myself. But you also have to remember in the back of your mind, you've got one of the smallest attendances. So if it's not working, we've got a job to preserve our status as well. That's one of the most important things at Crawley. First has to come preservation. You learn. The more time you spend at Crawley Town Football Club, the more you learn about what's important, how it can work, what variables can play. We've had suspensions. We've had Ollie Palmer out for 9 games this year due to suspensions. That's been unlucky. There's a lot of things that have gone against us. So we have to stay united. We have to try and go to Northampton, do our best. We owe them one, because I think we're better than them. And we have to beat Macclesfield. And hopefully we can keep on building. That's what we have to do. That is the only thing that this club can do right now. You can say all you want to say. You can be critical. I get that, and we take that on the chin. Believe me. But there's a job here, and that job's going to get done. We're going to keep this team up, and then we build again for next season. Whether you like it or not, that's what we're going to do. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
How many players that come out of it have we actually put a penny coin over the counter for? How many have we actually bought?
Good evening. We've spent funds on Dominic Pollion this season. Thomas Rohite was brought by our previous manager after us bringing James Collins. The manager wanted to bring his own striker in. Billy Clifford was also a transfer fee. Ollie Palmer. And obviously, you know, there's been increasements in January windows to bring in more players as well.
Yeah, but how many do we actually buy? Not everybody obviously throw out some freebies. How many do we actually buy?
This season we've spent on 2 the strikers we've got. Palmer and Pollion, and the season before Thomas Rohite we spent funds on. It was wanted by the manager. And you know, I'll give you another example for, you know, I bought an Enzo Baldwin and I wanted to replace him with the wingers I thought will suit this team. Obviously I need to give assistance to the manager as well. And I'll give the players' names, you can ask the players if you want. Frank Newgate from Colchester and Bruno Andrade from Lincoln City. I said to the gaffer, we have to bring these boys because I'm losing Enzo. And I'm just trying to be very honest to you. I believe 2 players will replace Enzo. 2. So obviously and end of the season, I believe there will be plenty of good budget for Gabriele Cioffi to choose the players he actually wants to bring in as well.
And then next.
Stand up.
Oh, stand up.
Hello,
Stand up and announce yourself.
Actually, Nicholson. As a director of football, Selim, have you got the ultimate responsibility for Chancellors?
Obviously, the most important thing I believe in, the manager's way of style. So, I love 4-2-3-1, I'm not the manager. The previous year, this season was built on 3-4-3. Obviously, when the manager goes, you've got the style, the players, the formation that the previous manager wanted to play. But maybe the new manager's style of play is completely different. But your window's closed. What can we do? We have to obviously give the best we can to the manager. And the manager, I think, you know, it's not easy to come in, you know, just after 6-7 games when you've brought in players with the style you want to play. For example, we saw Joshua, the previous manager wanted a centre back that could play the ball from, you know, start from the back. Maybe the new manager's style was not like that.
It's down to you.
Not really.
It's down to you.
No. So there's a collective. It's a collective. It's a collective. But when Harry was here, for example, Harry would have the final say. When Dermot was here, he'd have the final say. Same goes with Gary actually. What goes, because if the gaffer don't want to play, there's no point paying money for a player. There have been 2 players that have come here when the gaffer hasn't known. I'll be honest with you, Konyar and actually Nathaniel George. I personally said to the gaffers that these could be good investments for the club because the club needs to build a policy to start creating a new angle to try and get revenue from. Because this is a smaller club. So if you're going to be self-sustainable or try and bring transfer revenues to try and compete every year to keep a competitive budget, this is what you need to do in football. but it's understanding the game as well, like where we come from recruitment. So it's about trying to find those wild cards that are going to be suitable. And to be fair to Panuche Kamara, I know like Marmite, some people hate him, some people love him, but he runs 13 kilometres a game, and for a 1997 born kid, he's also done the most tackling player in our squad. So I've got to salute him for the money on his least earning player as well. So that was a good one, and I think actually Nathaniel George has come in as well, and I think we'll see, next season I'm very excited to see Ashley Nathaniel George, because he's growing, his character's growing, he's adapting, and these type of players are very, very important to the team. And Harry didn't have, I remember in Harry and his fans probably said 2 players were signed without my consent. But Harry will admit this now as well. He wanted Ashley Nathaniel George at Notts County in January. This is true. I mean, there's pure evidence of this. So sometimes it's not only, with the respect to the coaching staff, sometimes you have to do things in the right for the club as well. Because you've got to think of the long-term ambition of the club. Once again, I know that the coaches are here, but sometimes it don't work out with coaches, unfortunately, even though I believe in our coaching staff. And you have to think of the long-term vision of the club, because it's in your hands. You can't think, oh, this gaffer wants this, so I'm going to give him everything, because we've seen what's happened a little bit this year as well, to be honest with you. We built a squad around Harry's system. He's gone on the 1st of September. Well, you've got to start again. So you've built a squad for this certain way of playing, with certain key members that he's brought in the way of talking to them, so they've come for Harry in a way. He's gone, so those players feel demotivated, I feel, so you've got to bring them all up again, and you've got to start from again, and it's not easy. So sometimes I think the club and the directors have to go and spot these players for the benefit of the club as well, and I'm a believer in that. I'm a big believer in that.
Sounds like you've got quite a key role as a consultant within the club.
Well, yeah, because I've been in football for 10 years and I brought the chairman here. I brought the project to him. So I'll set this project up in the sense of what can you do, how can it work, what are the things. So I've always tried to help, and I've never stopped recruiting. That's what I do for a living. I mean, not as an agent, but I believe, I used to be an agent, but I believe in finding wild cards. I believe in finding raw talent. That's what I believe, that's my passion. And that's what I've built my whole business on before. And my players that I've built on have gone on to be £40 million players. So it's not like I'm doing this as a joke. I did this as a reality, and I was very, very successful at it, to be honest with you. So I'm happy, and hopefully, I can translate my knowledge and my know-how to help this club, because that's the most important thing to me. That's what I'm saying.
Gentleman at the back.
Hello, Bruce. Hello, guys. You say we're looking to build. I mean, I thought when Aaron came in, he made this. Was it an 8-year plan or a 10-year plan?
Yes, yes.
Does he bitterly regret saying that now? Because I have to confess, when he said that, I thought it was a tad ambitious.
I know it doesn't look very feasible at the moment. I get that. But in football, anything can happen. And to be honest with you, this is the year where, due to the budgets of being 1.88, whatever it is, and it's a top 10 budget, this was the year with players like Felipe Moraes and this kind of thing. We thought this could be the year. So that was part of the plan. To be honest with you, the plan's been working in this sense. Every year the squad values increase. Every year the injections increase to make it a competitive budget. So the plan is there. Unfortunately, this year, it's gone south. Hasn't worked. I mean, there's many variables why, but we all have to sit down. We have to be reasonable. We have to look at each other and go, where's it gone wrong? What can we do? We've got to find solutions. There's no point. I mean, I know you guys, you're all upset and you can bicker and you can swear and say what you want to say. That's your right. But we among ourselves have to be united. We've got to talk among each other. We've got to keep each other positive, keep trying, keep the players motivated. And like I said, our duty now is to try and secure ourselves, and we build again next year. I believe every year we've got to try for the playoffs. And we've been so close and so far. Like last year, Harry's second half of the season was brilliant. Otherwise, Notts County wouldn't have taken him. You know, Notts County paid £100,000 for him. You know, most of the fans were calling for his head after the Wickham game, which is rightly so. Results going bad. But sometimes you've got to stick with people, and it can work out. So hopefully, we're going to build, this year we're going to solidify, and next year we've got some young players coming through. Like if we can keep hold to the likes of Panuche, David Cisse, Ashley Nathaniel George, there's good youngsters, Tom Dallison, there's good players to build around. We keep Jimmy Smith coming back as well, so I think it's exciting.
Touching on young players, I've seen both Gabby and Nathan down there. watching the Brighton under-23s. I was desperately hoping that the young lad Connolly would be plying his trade here, and I can't tell you how disappointed I was when he went to Moneybags Luton. But is there no way that we couldn't entice a player like that who's just on the doorstep?
Just to go back onto Aaron Connolly, I've called, I'm really close to Brian's recruitment on loans, David Ware, ex-centre-back. Regarding Connolly, and there was 2-3 other boys. Another example, Tom Dallison, after I was really close to him for 2 years. But obviously we couldn't loan him at the time. Brighton chose to send him to Accrington. And I always had discretion to Brighton. We're next door. I'm sure all the players living local to their homes and, playing for Crawley Town, you can keep an eye on them. They can come to the training ground, you can train extra sessions if you needed them. Aaron Connolly, I was told, was out for 10 weeks in January. There was 2 other strikers that actually brought, but they had injury problems as well. Aaron Connolly was one of the ones we actually wanted, but we can't really afford to sign a striker, which is going to be out for 10 weeks. And Luton Town obviously brought just in case they play on to playoffs and they need that extra man. But the manager's aware of Connolly, and I know Connolly for a season and a half, so it was a player we were looking at as well.
Okay, guys.
Yes, sir.
Hello, chaps. I have 2 questions, footballing questions. The first one is... Thanks. The first question is, since December we've conceded maybe 4 times in the last 5 minutes, and a penalty in the last 5 minutes against Swindon. What do the coaches put that down to? Is there maybe a need for more fitness, or what do they put it down to?
Good evening to everyone. I don't think it's a case to talk about fitness or intensity in the way we play. It's about mentality. When you suffer a penalty or you concede a penalty 88 minutes, or you concede a goal in the last minute, as for example in the last game, you have to look at the big picture. The big picture says that the last game the boys were trying to draw, losing the balance completely. And so that's the reason it's not about fitness, because our team is one of the higher in the table in terms of running and speed of the ball. I know that at the end of the day it's not important for you. You wanna look at the 3-point, me as well. But I'm just trying to give you an explanation with number. It's mindset. That's the reason why we are working every day on their mentality, because in this league and with this player that now I can say are my player, I will defend in every way. The mentality is weak. Otherwise, most of our players will be in a different league. So we are working daily on that. If you ask me why, I don't know. I can't go back in their career for 10, 20 years. I can tell you what I'm doing now, what we are doing now every day. And trust me, we are hammered, as we say in Italy. So with 1 hour and 30 minutes of training, high intensity. But at the end of the day, you have to match their brain. It's not easy when you jump in a car that is driving 200 kilometers per hour. I did answer or no?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Second question. Why don't we shoot more? Why don't we shoot more? We seem to want to walk the ball into the goal. And it goes, I'm not a coach, but it strikes me that the more shots we have, the more chance we're going to get a goal.
You need an answer.
I don't want your job, Gabby. I just wonder why we don't shoot more.
In the last 6 matches, taking out the Stevenage game, we've averaged 1 shot every 15 minutes and 1 shot on target every match.
Yeah, but you probably will laugh. We are doing finishing 3 times per week, and it's not about, we are working on that because we are checking also the number. And our last conversation was about in the last 6 games we had 121 crosses. So the easier thing is say no one is in the box. That's not true, because in the box the data The numbers say that we have a striker, the second striker, one midfielder, and the opposite midfielder. So it means that we have to work in a different way in the way we attack the box, not that we don't have enough body inside. At the end of the day, our team is producing clear, 2-3 clear chances. And when I say 2-3 clear chances, I'm talking about one player in front of the goalkeeper. Sometimes there are phases in the league. What I can say, we can't shoot on only Palmer because he missed the goal, or Dominic because he missed the 25 goal, or other player. That's football. The real problem was if we don't create chances, we didn't create chances, or we play poor football without idea, or the team was running, or the team wasn't giving emotion. That's where the real issue. And from my side, honestly, then you are the judge of this. I'm not feeling this. If you say that you are upset because we are not winning, I agree with you. Trust me, it's my life. I'm more upset than you. Because there is a worse thing for a manager, for a staff, join and watch a game where your team is leading, because no one of you can say, I think, and I hope, that for 75 minutes we didn't lead the game. And then you lose 3-0. The worst question was of my son, Dad, you lost 3-0. He said, yes, but did you shot on goal? Unfortunately, yes, I said. But it's frustrating for us, for our job. But we are working, we trust our player. We really trust. When I have them say that it's a good sport, I really do believe this. When I signed it, the first thing I checked the player. And make me laugh when someone say you don't know the league. What I have to know of the league? How is the environment? I love England. I love the environment in the stadium. So what I have to know, the players, is enough a bit of will to study, as we have done before to join the club. Watching all the game, we knew by heart all the name of the player, their skill. Then it's a philosophy that you can read. You can agree or not. But this is my philosophy.
Yes.
Where is the squad training at the minute? Are they still at Oakwood?
No, at the moment, no. I decide honestly to training in front, in the 3G in front,
Okay.
and it's something we try together to sort out, because it's a big lack for a club to not have a training ground. And honestly, when I'm joining this club, there were a lot of stuff that didn't work, and still are not working. But the easier thing is complain. I think the reality is that in this club are working on the employee side amazing people, and I'm living with them daily. If you can believe or not, I'm on the same page with this gentleman, and we fight, and they have heart and love for the club. And I don't have to buy anything from them. I don't need to buy time. If they sack me tomorrow, I will find another job. I will be sad, because here when I want to be. So there are a lot of stuff to build. Now we have a department, an analysis department. Before the club never had one. All intern, yes. All for free, yes. We have no money, we have to be creative. So now we have the dressing room was something without emotion. Now we have a new dressing room, we have a new tunnel. We are creating, because the club, the reality of the club, you are the heart of the club. But then there is all the rest of the body. And the rest of the body, there wasn't connection. Now we start to have a connection. That will bring result. You can believe or not, sometimes the player are a consequence. A manager is never happy. We want the best player. I'm not, when one of the journalists asked me, are you happy with the window man? No. Because a manager is never happy, one player that solves the problem. But probably this is the situation of Manchester, Chelsea. That's the reality. Here we have to create players. As Erdem said, Panucci 2 years ago was playing in the desert, literally. Now he's one player. I'm not saying he's one of the best players of the league, but he's a player that you can like or not. A lot of clubs in Ligue 1 are asking. If I think about David Cissé, David Cissé was a right winger in Watford. Now he's a left wing back with a lot of clubs that like him. So that what means? That we are working. But they have a good eyes. We are working with passion on the pitch. I know, and we back always there. We need the 3 points. We know. But more than 100%, more than football idea, more than effort. I'm sure it's about time.
That answered your question about the training ground.
I reply, we don't have 3 million to buy a training ground.
It's work in progress.
Work in progress.
Question, please. Yeah, I do. I'm sure I speak for all the sport. We do appreciate we all working hard, and the team is playing better than it did last year. And some of the midfield play is very, very good. But I think I'll speak for most people here. What frustrates most is the silly mistakes we make, and we don't seem to learn from them. It cost us again Saturday. 2 silly mistakes cost us again Saturday, and it's so frustrating for us. But I assume you do work on the training ground to try and correct this, but it seems to be the same thing happens week after week. You know, I mean, they go away to Swindon, brilliant result. They go away to Bury, brilliant result. And the first half against, what's name was it, Saturday?
Oldham.
We held, we're fine. But you could see the Oldham at half time, I think, hello, we've got nothing to worry about here. So they stepped up their game against, and once they got the first goal, that was it. You know, it's frustration more than anything, but we're making the same. Because we're not scoring goals, it's very important we don't concede them. We are conceding those silly mistakes.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Another question. I have my point. I already discussed it with the boys, so it's nothing, and I will repeat tomorrow. It's frustrating. Good performance, 3-0. Good performance, 3-0. Then you lose again because sometimes you play bad and you lose, you deserve. This is the mentality I was talking about. You can't change. I'm telling you something I already spoke with the boys, so it's not something they will know from the media or from the social media. I don't accept players that come here, stamp, and then back home. And create a winning mentality is tough. Be demanding on the training. I don't want CV. With the CV you don't win the game. You win the game with the heart, with the passion, with the application 95 minutes. And this, if you ask me something, this team is lacking on that mentality. Because what don't kill you make you stronger. Okay? Now we are, trust me, more than stronger.
Simon.
Thanks. Good evening. Question in a couple of parts, if I may. The first one, an observation, then a question to follow on. Thank you for the transparency, for sharing the numbers with us. It takes a big man to put over 3 million of his money into a football club. But I have to say, if my boss had backed me with £3.25 million to increase my budget by 88%, somebody will probably be asking what's going on, bearing in mind we're in a lower position and further from the playoffs than when you guys came to the club. The second is the question. When you came to Crawley, quite a lot was made about your background as football people, the connection with the Turkish club and so on. When we did a bit of Googling around, seemed to have been some issues with the Turkish club. It was reported 4 relegations in 4 years. Have to say, Erdem, some fairly colourful articles about yourself as well. What is it you guys really bring to the club? What are your connections? Where is this club going? And how much do you think you'll need to put into Crawley to get us up the leagues to a higher level?
I'll start with myself. Firstly, when you buy a house, you don't just look at one window and buy the house. You've got to look at the whole thing. So regarding myself, you picked up on something. However, my story is very colourful, but the people that, judges or whoever that had the case with me, they're all in prison now. So there's a very, very unfair situation. I've got nothing on my criminal record. In fact, in Turkey, every club president calls me. still, because I have a very, very good reputation for finding players. There's nothing I can do with that, about what's on there. I couldn't care less. I thought I've been there, I've given my evidence, and how can the judge that prosecute you be in prison? It tells you what's going on in the country at the time, but that's a different kettle of fish. But to answer that, I can put that away. Regarding Turkish setups, it's not privately owned clubs. It's elected boards like Barcelona, Real Madrid. So at the time the chairman was there, he only was relegated from the Super League down. After that, he left the club. So it's not his club. So the further relegations are not under his running or stewardship. To answer, 3.2 million has been put in, but over 3 years. So when he first came in, you had no players. I mean, if you look at the players that left the club in the first season, I think only Guillaume Edwards has gone upwards. Everyone else has gone downwards. So it was a pretty empty squad. I mean, there wasn't a lot of quality there. So there's been a lot of squad building. So you've also used these funds to try and acquire assets as well. Like
there was sufficient quality to have us in a high league position, and you guys have got us into.
No, of course.
So I wouldn't run down the previous players of the club.
No, that's not what I mean. Well, what I'm trying to say to you, the squad that you inherited when you first came in, with their contracts running down, that squad of players, they've all moved on, like Lee Barnard, Shamir Fenelon, these kind of guys that are all playing regularly, they've all moved on downwards. Only Konyar has gone upwards. Now, of course, the league position since then has gone downwards, I get that. But the squad value has increased. Sometimes not budget and squad position, league position, it's not always variable, it's not always elastic. Like, look at Notts County, look at Leyton Orient, massive budgets, they've gone down. It's not, you can't always throw money at football and it's not always going to work. Like, look at, Manchester United, they bought players sometimes for 30 million, like Seville, UN, Veron, and they sold them for 15 million and taken the 15 million hit the year after. Money it's not always the true indicator of success. There's a squad value here that's growing, and that's the most important thing. The contracted players here at the club at the moment are more valuable, and also they've got a longer contract. There's a good impetus, there's a good core. I know we're in a sticky situation, but we're still 9 points clear, so it's not red alert yet. But we have to make sure that we solidify, and then we can build again. There's a good core of players to build on. There's good youth. The squad value at the moment, if you follow transfer market and stuff like that, you can have a look. This is the most valuable Crawley squad in the past 3 years, and that shows that. So we are football people. I could talk about this forever, because this is what we do, this is what we live, this is what we breathe. This is our game. Like some people, for example, they're in the building trade. This is our trade. This is what we believe in. So this squad value is only going to increase, and hopefully can translate into points, and we carry on clicking on.
Can I ask a supplementary, Bruce, please, to that? So following on, you say all the Turkish thing is in the past, etc. But obviously as a consultant, have you taken the fit and proper test yet?
Yes, I have. I've sent it through and I'm waiting for it to come back.
Has anyone got a question for Nathan?
What role do you have in substitutions? Because I'm a bit concerned, particularly when we go a goal down, about the game management. Okay. Certain parts of the game. That's my big concern.
Nathan spoke to them on there.
Repeat again, please. The substitution which role he has?
Yes, sometimes we take a forward off, sometimes we don't put one on, and I just think, I know he came back from a goal down at Bury last week, put an A&G on, but on the whole, I'm not confident when we go goal down, particularly at home, that we're going to come back in the game. That's my opinion. I may be wrong in that.
No, you're right. Oh, you're right. I feel the same.
Because you need to put your imprint. You need to. We need to know where we're going.
I know where
we're going. When we get a goal down.
Trust me. I know where we are going and where I want to go. Port Vale, because I think you are referring to that game. Port Vale were squeezing with five centre back in the back, so there is no space. Only Parma were struggling. If I put inside Dominic, they have a two-land mark in front, so I decided to play with 3-4-2-1 in the gap. Worked, yes, because we doubled the crosses, we had chances, we didn't score. That's football. Last game, probably you're right. I was late to move to 4-4-2 for the reason why, because the reason why was because I think more than one time to take off player like Panucci and David, for the reason why I think they are I'm not scared to say this, probably two, between the few players with heart, they are pure. So even when they are done physically, and David, I should took him off probably 10 minutes before, but I struggle, because I prefer a player with hard diet than a fresh one with probably less hard. About Dominic, because I think you are referring also to him. I like Dominic as player. As I said before, I don't want a CV. I want a player that show me that they are hungry and angry every day. The only player I trust. That's the reason why I decided to play wingback David Cisse. That's the reason why he's playing every game Panucci. Sometimes lose is painful. I have to be creative, because now we sign Ibrahim, good player, got injured the first training. So what we can do? Ricardo, you have to work with the player. You can't pretend, as Erdem said before, you sign Ashley, he's a raw talent. I recognize him potential. Just for your knowledge, we are doing extra session all the Wednesday in our day off. So you say, we don't care, we work every day, us as well. Then we are preparing footages for the player. We both are drawn to film the player, to improve the player. We managing the game in the best way in our interest, in the club interest.
Thanks, Nathan.
I did answer.
Anything on?
So what's Nathan's role?
Just to reiterate on a couple of things there, all clear. If you look at the previous games over the last probably month or so, obviously we go away to Swindon, we get the result. There's moments in them games where you want to make a sub, but you get that feeling in your belly where you suggest to the manager, no, we'll stick with it, we see the game out. That's one situation. You look probably 5 months back, when Ashley Nathaniel George was at his peak, okay, he's come on against Yeovil, put the ball in the back of the net, game done, 3 points. Same thing happens again with Cambridge, a pattern occurs, them suggestions are in the book, we always refer back to them if we get that feeling in each game. So just to go back to the question that you said, there's obviously more than 2 people on the sideline making them quick decisions. I stand back, I observe the game, we discuss, there's more than 1 people on the bench, because if everyone's in the game at the same moment, and we're all working 100 miles per hour, where do your clear decisions come from? So the balancing out of different people that's key from my role from the bench. And let's be honest, if you look at the previous weeks, also at Newport when it was 0-0, the tactical change of Reece Cox to the left-hand side, seen it out. Some weeks that feeling happens, some weeks that feeling doesn't happen. Even though probably 2,500 in the stand thinking, do it. 1 week it's going to work, 1 week it's not. So, like you said, at that moment in the game, you want to be proven to make your money and earn your coin.
Next one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to know what our goalie in the half-backs plays between each other so much through a game. Instead of getting the ball up the other end, we can't score in our own penalty area.
Half-backs.
That's a point of view. I think I'm not feeling, I don't know if you are feeling the risk that we are conceding. Honestly, I see the squad will come out from the back.
If we lose the ball, they can score straight away. We haven't got a chance. If we put it up the other end, we've got a chance of scoring.
You're right, but if you look at the last game, we lost 2 balls. The first one with Georgia, it was almost 3/4 of the opponent pitch. And with Lewis, he was in the box on the other squad. And when we suffered a goal, we were 5 in both the goal, 5-2. So that is not about transition, it's not about mentality. Sometimes you have to, if I was on the pitch, I tear down the opponent, fall in the middle of the pitch. So it makes sense in my broken English. Yeah, okay. The player had different reason. We suffer the goal, the free kick and the goal. But if you ask me, you like play from the back? Yes, I want to play from the back.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, hi fellas. Basically, the best game I've seen us play at home majority I think the same as Exeter on a Tuesday night. We played absolutely superb football that night. And I just want to know how we've lost the momentum since then, because they absolutely played brilliant that night. And we looked so disjointed at times out there. And to me, when I've sat there on Saturday, they just looked like there was no leader on the pitch. I know you're agreeing with me, you know, but they played absolutely superb football that night. And I just want to know why we've lost that momentum.
Nice and direct. After Exeter, we played Tranmere.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not scared to say that was my fault as well. I thought to have found the ingredient, the magician, you know what I mean? So probably I was pushing them to something that they were ready. So we went, not arrogant, because I'm not an arrogant man, so my squad can't be arrogant, but let's say more soft. And thinking to go to Tranmere, even I knew that it was a tough squad, a tough environment, light. So when we challenged the reality, and the reality that there were 11 animals kicking the ball and rushing, we were surprised. We had that feeling, and we react from the bench. They hadn't. And they suffering the reaction. It was a catastrophe. From them, build a game was really tough, because as I was saying, the weak point of the player are spending most of their career in this league are not the skill, it's the brain. So to build a game was a tough hill up, it's correct if I say a tough climbing. And in the last 9 games, we are solid, we were solid. We start to play again good football, missing a lot of chances, but it's changed. When I said we turned the corner after Newport, I really believe this. What is a longer path to turn is the mentality, and this is a daily fight that we have. Make sense? So the moment
It makes sense, yeah, but I just want to know why is there no voice out on the park? You've got communication from you two. There's no voice out there on the Saturday. There's nothing out there, so there's nothing at all. You know, we go gold down and we just fall apart.
Yeah, one of my sport director when I was playing Premier League said to me, if you don't have leader, you have to build leader. And what we are trying to do, we have a personality inside the squad, different personality. A real leader, no, we don't have. So we need more than one player that is keeping the burden on his shoulder and is leading the squad. And if, for example, the last game, you have some important players that not are giving up, but they are upset of what's happened, we suffered the goal, or how we can do it. We never drew. We drew in Bury because everyone was on the same page. You don't buy leadership. This is the only thing that you can buy.
Yes, sir.
How many people are on the injury list and what's their status?
Okay,
So you've got Smith equally.
honestly, we are the first squad in the list, in the first, between the 3-4 squad that has at the moment only 15, 16 muscle injury. Since I'm in charge, 1. Our problem with Oli was the game was mentioned here, and obviously was the suspension. Phil, because we don't have to forget that Phil missed 8 games for the injury, for the surgery he has to his finger. No training at all. So the first game he played was Mansfield without any physical condition. That's the reason why his performance are under the level at this moment. We have the problem with Ibrahim now because he's wearing used this level of training, to the standard of training. And just today I discovered that Gambin had a problem to his hip. So we are talking about bone. These are our injuries at the moment.
What about Jimmy Smith then?
But Jimmy Smith is ACL, and he broke his ACL in September. I was against Oldham. So this is it's not muscle injury, it's a ligament injury. It's basically, he broke one tendon of his knee. So he needs 6 months, so probably a couple of months more.
Do you think Jimmy will play again this season, Gavin?
Myself or Jim?
If you want.
No, I don't think. Probably, I feel he's a bit late in his recovery.
So why was he given another year's contract, just as a matter of fact? Because you don't know whether he's going to come back to the level he was.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. We just got one here, sir. Just stand here. If you just stand on just 1 second.
Why was Jimmy Smith given another year's extension on his contract if you don't know what level he's going to be at when he comes back? Bit of a gamble with this problem with player recruitment. Why did you give him another year's contract in the middle of like?
I feel comfortable to answer them if I say something wrong. What the club have done, and I supported this honestly, you have to be thankful to a player that gave a lot to the club. And if you leave, doesn't matter if you back 99% or 110. This one player is the captain, is a player that gave a lot to the club. So you have to respect him and support him. Otherwise, it's too easy to trash the people.
I'm not saying about throwing him away.
Sorry.
What about give yourself a bit of time, think about it, see what level he is when he does come back. Why was the rush to give him another contract?
The reason is because we were there was actually contractual discussions at the time between Selim and himself. And over the 2 years, this lad has given so much to this club. On the pitch, he's an example. And sometimes it's not just about money and figures. It's about family. It's about making that when we went to Lincoln away, that guy took the team. And we won. And it's all about his passion. And I saw him on the day when we found out his injury. And I saw him and he was in tears. And I just said to him, look, you're going to be a part of the coaching staff and you're a part of this club. Because you need him around. He pushes the levels. He always demands 110% from the players. So I know, yes, of course it's a risk. But it's not just a footballing risk. This guy is Mr. Crawley. And that guy, I think he'll be around here for a long time. And hopefully he does, because he's an ambassador of professionalism. He's a good example to the youngers. He pushes everyone in training. I think he's helped Gabby in the coaching staff. So that's the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, that's a player, but then you're talking about a coach or maybe behind the scenes. It's two different things, isn't it?
I know what you're saying, but he merits it for what he's done for the club over the past 2 years. Now, if you want, the guy, put the shoe on the other foot, for example. He's just had a kid. He just had an ACL. You're going to go to him, you know what, Jimmy? We're not going to give you a new contract. He's going to get into depression. He's motivated. He's one of the most important guys still in the dressing room. You can't buy that. He demands 110% from everybody, and he is a very, very important symbol of this club. I mean, the first home game in the new season that when Mr. Erdem took over, he scored the first goal. When Dermot last with the Carlisle game, he scored when it was 3-2, or I think when they drew that year when we solidified. So he's a very, very important person, and he's always popped up. In Harry's season, I think it was 10 goals, 8 assists. So this guy deserves it. He's a good guy. There's more to football than just contracts and risk that. These are people. So you're looking after someone who hopefully can, hopefully can recover, and I think he will because he's a model professional. And even if he doesn't, it's not a regret because he will be around this club. And we've got to respect Jimmy. Jimmy's an important figure of this club.
Yeah,
Bob Gatterall. I can certainly go with the comments about Jimmy Smith. I go with that 100%. I'm somewhat puzzled about what happened to Roman Bansalon. I think he was probably the second best player in the club. And I think both of them would have made a tremendous midfield duo either side. I know Roman played at the back. Then he went off the radar, and that seems to happen players go off the radar. And you look for them in the subs bench, and you look for them in the comments and the injuries, and you don't see anything. And that's when you start wondering, that's when the rumours start. And I just wondered why we lost Roman Bansala.
Since I was appointed, Romain was injured to his ankle, bad injury. Then he came back in Gillingham as midfielder. He was signed to play centre back in a back three. From my way to view football, in my way to play, Romain doesn't fit my philosophy. So in the back three, I was a player like Tom Dallison, Connelly, Joe McMahon, this kind of player. George Franco. I respect Vince as a professional. He was perfect, a great professional since he was here. But in my opinion, in terms of physicality and needs for the squad, it didn't match what I want.
So you wouldn't have seen him as a midfielder?
No, because all his career, I saw him play a couple of years ago as defensive mid. He has good knowledge of the game, but from my point of view, everyone can think the opposite. He lost his stamina. So I don't need player who talk, I need player who run. In my opinion, he was a great professional, great player. I wish him all the best, but it wasn't on my plan.
Okay, thank you.
Just to go on to this, I wish him speedy recovery. Is that for another 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, at the back.
We seem to do very well against the better sides in the league, the Lincolns, the Exeters, Bury, etc. But against the lower sides, we get bullied out. We've lost against the bottom sides, Macclesfield, Notts County, Port Vale. I just wonder whether we don't adapt our style enough to clubs that are not so possession-minded.
I agree 50-50. I mean, we have to look also at the game. Every game, this is the big picture that we are losing against smaller team. And you're right. Notts County, honestly, we didn't deserve to lose. But I'm not saying this, everyone. So they were surprised that we lost. Port Vale, probably, I don't think when you have an idea of football, the other has to change. So we have to be probably more wise as the last game taught us, because probably we don't have to win at all cost, especially against this squad that came here as Port Vale, 11 body on the back, or as the last one, Erdem. They were here to draw because they play with us 190 centimeter center back as left full back, so they came here for 1 point. And they won counter-attack, so the answer I think you want is yes, we have to be more wise and we don't have to win at all cost.
Yes, ma'am.
Selim, in many of the previous seasons we've had more than one manager. So what makes Gabby different to all of those?
Thank you for the question. Just to let you know, obviously I've worked with Recipes, Drummy, his assistant, Harry Kill, his assistant, Ron Feeney. What I strongly believe in, Mr. Cioffi and Rooney, is, you know, the man management is fantastic, and I've seen a lot of things sometimes we can't always express out. Honestly, I could write a book with things I've experienced in Oakwood and all sorts. Maybe one day, when I retire, I would like to write a book, and certainly there will be some things in there regarding the past. But Mr. Cioffi's man management is, for me, is special, because, you know, think of your waking up, going to work, and you want to go into a good environment with good positivity around your training ground. And that is what I believe our players missed within the last 16 months prior to appointing Mr. Cioffi as a manager, and that was one thing we had to change in the club, and I think we've done fantastic, and I'd like to thank him in front of yourselves as well. I must be honest, I'm someone very positive, and what I need the players to have around them, honestly, I know I've probably mentioned it 2-3 times, but positivity and good man management, where you look after the boys, and I know how special it is for some players. You know, you can have depressive moments at home, and I've experienced it this season as well with 1 or 2, and he has actually looked after them in that sense where sometimes mental health is very important, and these are the things sometimes some people won't be able to see or hear because not everything can be expressed out. If that's answered the question.
Next one. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering what the relationship with Brighton is. Is there a relationship?
You know, I respect Brighton Football Club, obviously it's a Premier League club right next to us. If you ask me personally, I believe we should have, because I've got a phone call from a Championship club that said, Selim, we would like to invite yourselves because we want to learn all our players to yourself, we want to feed the club in a way. And I thought it was a good thing when a Championship club, which I believe will be in the Premier League next season, to have that interest to send us players. I'd rather have a local club who's in the Premier League just next door and that can give us football players. There's some quality youth players at Brighton that's local to here, probably just drive 10 minutes down, probably live in Crawley or Horsham, all around. And I always believe in, instead of going to Accrington, come to Crawley Town Football Club. We're just next door. You're training. You could train at your own training ground, or you come train in Crawley Town Football Club, obviously. But Connolly is a big example. Aaron Connolly, if we had him, it would have been fantastic. I saw his hat-trick against MK Dons. I was like, just a striker we need next door in Palmer and Dominic Collin. But we do have a good relationship, obviously. I believe it should be more increased where we are the exclusivity to take their players instead of other league clubs.
So we haven't got one then?
We have exclusivity, but
we'd like one, but we haven't got one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ladies play here, so it's developing.
Yeah, I know. I saw them.
It's not easy, but slowly.
Well, I thought with the pitch and the ladies playing here, we might have an in.
In all fairness, the players go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like for example, Alzati went to Swindon. We wanted Ben White. He went to Newport. So it's not like you don't try.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they have tried, but they choose to go elsewhere. I don't know. Maybe they think that they'll become more of a man when they go, when they're away from their homes. I'm not sure, but that's their club policy.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
They're not the only local Premier League club. You've got Crystal Palace, and you've got Zola. Why can't we pick some of the Chelsea youngsters? Is it down to money? Is it about a loan fee you have to pay?
They didn't want to.
They don't want to come. No.
Because, for example, the Brighton boys, they want to sign for a League One club.
Also, Chelsea boys didn't work out too well either when they came, did they? No. Alex Davey and Mitchell Vini, I mean,
Who signed them?
Well, right, at the time.
What about Charlton? Because obviously we did them a favour with Carlin last year. Hopefully we get a cut of their transfer fee to Huddersfield. But what about Charlton? Is that a relationship that can be?
Yeah, Charlton relationship. I'm really good with Steve Gannon, head of recruitment. Obviously, we was lucky as well to get Carlin. Obviously, we used Harry to leave Bowyer, and the head of recruitment did say it's easier for him because he had League One options. And I tried, trying to recommend another player to ourselves from Charlton, but I had no injury problem, which when I watched Carlin, that player who's injured I thought would be better than Carlin. But obviously Carlin, I remember when Harry said to me, he's only got 1 goal. Are you sure? I said, he's a quality player. I think he'll do really well in the future as well. Maybe next season be in Championship, but Charlton relationship is really good. Obviously they lost Carl Grant, they needed strikers themselves, but they just signed Josh Park from Gillingham and they didn't have anyone to send to us. It's not signing a player for the sake of signing someone. You know, they had a couple of youth players offered, but I don't think they will actually go into our 17.
Right, yes, Alan.
Have you got any specific targets for next season, players you want to bring in?
I personally was, you know, I personally love Nick Adams, and I know he's an ex-Crawley Town football player. I've got some really interesting players that I could forward on to Cioffi, and I've done good ones today, I believe, and just like, you know, the striker like James Collins, Carl and Enzio, and I think there will be interesting players. Obviously, I always try to keep quiet because as a club, you know, these kind of players you have to keep quiet because once, you know, League One team finds out, and especially, I'm not going to be big-headed, but Selim laughed this.
I wasn't expecting you to name any names.
Oh, sorry. Well, you know, I like to give names. You know, there is, I don't know, some, because they're paying for their clubs at the moment, but no, I won't give names, but I'll give it. I know there's one Mr. Cioffi really wants, and we tried going from January, but it's not easy, but honestly, I can promise there is interested players that we would love to bring end of the season, and obviously Mr. Cioffi's got his way of style of playing, and he's obviously going to get the time and positions that he wants to bring in, which will be exciting. But there is a players to come on board.
Missed out on Aaron Ramsey though, didn't you?
He wants 400 grand, we said, weekly.
Yes, sir, front row.
One for you, Gabby. What 3 players of our existing squad are the most important ones to you that you want to keep, make sure you still have next season?
Glenn Morris.
It's a loaded question. Glenn Morris, I think.
Glenn. Yeah. Glenn times 3.
Glenn. Another question? No.
2 more players.
Okay, I will tell you the name. I will just rectify one thing when I said before. There is no personality, there is no player with personality. It's difficult to find in all the league, all over the world, player that can lead a sport. So what we are trying to do, and the boys are on our side, to create one strong personality to solve the problem, even our problem. Back into the player, I don't want to lose Glenn, because we know that he has a lot of requests, offers, sorry. Then Oli Palma is important, but if a club comes and bring money to the club and there is a better future for the player, I think is something is very football. But I don't want to lose it. And the third one is tough because there are 3-4 players I really like in this squad, and they're already under the eyes of League One club. So the third name, surprise for the next. Okay, makes sense. Next forum.
Right, any more?
Yeah, what is the extent of the club's scouting network? Obviously, we've got a few rough diamonds from London clubs, non-league London clubs, but obviously there's bigger parts of the country that we seem to be not exploiting as big clubs in the northwest and Midlands. A lot of those clubs are so big, they discard a lot of youngsters because they're never going to get looking like Man City, Man United, Liverpool, etc. Are we looking to tap into that as an outlet to bring more rough diamonds into the club, as you outlined, is the sort of philosophy of moving forward?
Yeah, of course. I mean, every year I think we've improved our scouting network in the sense of contact and people watching games. So that is something that's working in progress. And when you are a smaller club, it's not easy to have the most extensive scouting network. And also these guys, I mean, the players from North usually, they're very hard to bring to South. Because if a big League One or League Two club up North wants them, and you've got to play over the odds to bring them here. So once again, it's a massive risk for the club. It's a massive gamble. But the scouting network is improving every year, to be honest with you, because we've had players abroad come, like from NCO, Boulder Wine. So there's also European games being watched as we speak as well, which is a good thing. So the scouting is always being increased every year.
Have the club got like scouts on the books, or do you just sort of rely on agents and things like that?
No, it's not agents, it's trusted people that will do it for expenses for you. So they're not on the books, but they'll go out there and they'll watch games and give you reports, but they're all trusted, they're trusted people. So you can't trust everyone's eye. That's another problem, because they can say it's a good play, you buy them, it's not good. So therefore you've got to use people you can trust. And people you can trust like yourself, that's the most important thing.
Yes, sir, at the back.
To be honest with you, I think the result where Swindon and Bury is masked what's been quite a poor period for us. And Gabby's mentioned this philosophy. I wouldn't mind sort of us dropping points here and there if I could see a direction and where we're going. At the minute I can't. I can't see where Gabby's philosophy is paying off within the squad. Now I don't mean that as disrespectful, it's just an honest opinion from observing. I can't see one direction where we're going. And to be honest with you, we're relying on the teams below us dropping points rather than us picking up points.
I respect your opinion. I have a different point of view, as you can imagine, and my point of view is, as most of the people are seeing, and they never saw the team playing this way. When Selim mentioned the positive and positive energy and the style of work, I don't know that you don't care, but that's part of the job. And where my philosophy will bring, if you ask me, I don't know. I know what I want, what I'm demanding every day to the player. Build a winning mentality. It's not about just ask everyone I want to win, everyone in the league. The difference is how you act every day. And what I'm trying to create here is a winning mentality. And honestly, and this I'm saying to the player every day, so it's not a surprise for them, they don't have a winning mentality. They come here, they get the salary. Why most of the player doesn't want to sign here? Because we don't have a playing ground. They say, why have to go to, they go to Swindon, they sign for Luton, they sign for other club. That's reality. But I love this reality. And if I'm here, you don't see the end, me as well. But I'm fucking working hard every day. Trust me.
I respect the fact that they're going to be pulled from other clubs bigger than ours with a big budget, bigger training facilities and stuff like that. But we used to really come out, even if we were a goal down at half-time, 0-0, we'd really go out with grit in our teeth for the second half. And I just can't see us really going for it. I don't believe we're going to come out second half and get a result. Whereas almost half a season ago, I would believe that we were going to come out and get a result.
You're right, on this you're right. This squad never won a game under one goal. If you ask me, Bury, we were lucky. I know, I'm not stupid. I look at the data. If you ask me, we could win the game, yes, because we had 2 chances that we could win the game. But we were lucky to draw at the 88 minutes. That's the mentality. You don't change the mentality. You are working to change the personality of a squad. If you punch me now, I punch you 3 times. Someone, if you punch me, someone go to the lawyer. So anyone has a different way to react. At the moment we are trying to go to the lawyer. What I'm trying to ask them is fucking punch back. But before they punch you. Trust me, what you are saying, I agree. But it's not simple. It's not easy. You want to win, I want to win. And you can say whatever you want with your voice. But when you act, no, it's every day in the training ground, even your private life. We can't control. We have players that drive 1 hour and 35 minutes to join the training. We have to match this reality. We have to try to how do you say, pull down from them the best. And at the moment, you can probably say, oh, Gabriele is telling us the story, but Oli Parma is best season. Panucci is best season. Felipe Moraes, best season. In terms of goals or performances. Numbers, these are numbers, it's not I'm inventing. More than work. Another one, tough.
So you basically, do you think that we're missing that? So you mentioned mentality, so do you think that we're missing the gap with Jimmy Smith and no one's really stepped up to the plate and really sort of been that leader on the pitch then? Is what
18 of us.
number are number. So we need 55 goals to be saved. No, sorry, 65 goals to be saved. And at the moment we have 28 or 36. So we have to find any way the goal. And we are working on set places. We are working on the finishing. We are working and the players are working. But it's not only us. There are a lot of teams are missing goals. So about who has more will to be here in this league.
Yes, you.
Two questions, one strategy, then one tactical, if I may. Club strategy, as we can see from the paperwork, increased income every single year. In your own words, earn a better team every single year. Can't really disagree with that. It seems to stem from our strategy is young experienced managers and a lot of young inexperienced players. We're now 3 years into that. I mean, granted, lots of experienced players as well, but generally young players coming from different clubs. We're now 3 years deep into that, and we're exactly the same point in the table. And the definition of insanity is you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So at what point do you change strategy?
To answer your question, I think if you look at the budget's increased every year.
Yeah.
So if you can increase your transfer revenue, then your budget, it should be more competitive for you to compete in the league. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked this year. But every year it had worked because you've got more points, you've got more money in the bank, you can spend that on your squad, and you can go, because the budget at the moment is a top 10. So unfortunately, we've underachieved in budget terms. There's been many variables why, but the most important thing is we keep it competitive and we go again. There's no textbook to this. If there was a textbook, I would have read it 100 times and applied it, but there isn't. So we have to keep on getting the revenue in, we've got to keep getting the injections, and hopefully, push ourselves up. And actively, the club's looking for different ways to increase its revenue as well. I mean, in commercial-wise, Joe Comper's done a very good job as well. It's the most it's ever received in the 3 years. So everyone's actively trying to increase the funds to bring into the club so that it can go into the football side and accordingly then translate onto the pitch. It's been a bit of an anomaly this season, which is quite disappointing. But the most important thing is that next season, hopefully, if we can apply the same strategy again, it will get right. Because if you keep acquiring the right players, and I don't think we have brought in a lot of young, inexperienced players. I don't believe in that, because if you look at the players that have come in, you've got a guy who played 38 games in the Championship last year. Vincelot, League One. Pollian, League One. Frankham, League One. And they're playing every game in League One. So they have come, there's been a lot of experience, but you have to bring in a few young guys when you're a smaller club to nurture them and make them good. Like Mohamed Ace at Cheltenham, 1.4 million. Now, if we can sell a player for 1.4 million at this club, and you can put that into your budget and get a bit of an injection as well, you've got a very, very good chance. Because unfortunately, we don't have 10,000 people coming. That's a given. That variable's never going to change. You can change it by 500, 750, maybe 1,000. But that's not going to help you. So we've got to try and apply these different strategies to put together to try and get the team up. And this is the only way that I see. But I'm open to any other way to raising funds for the club.
Is there a plan B? Let's say we're still in this position in 2 years, so it's still 17th, going out of cups, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Is there a plan B?
Well, of course there's a plan B. The plan B is you've got to throw more money in. There's nothing else you can do. I mean, we've been very unlucky with the cup runs as well.
Throwing money at it is plan A. You increase the budget every year, that's plan A.
Yeah.
What's plan B? So let's say keep throwing money, it doesn't get any better, we're still 17th in 2 years, still out of cups in 2 years.
Well, what do you do? Give up? What, are we going to give up?
No, don't say change tack, maybe get an experienced manager in.
Yeah,
For example. I love you, Gabby. I'm just saying, that's not Our last 3 managers have been inexperienced. Have you considered bringing in an experienced?
However, Harry did leave the club with the first transfer fee left for a club in the history of Crawley as well. So that strategy actually worked then, didn't it? So the most important thing is, therefore, you have to try and find different ways and different methods. And you're right. If something's not working, I'm sorry. But then accordingly, sometimes you have to change it. But not in this. But we believe in Gaffy. We believe there's a passion, there's a unity, all jokes aside. And we've got to look, there's a job on now. There's 14 cup finals out there now. And that's a serious thing in this club. I think we're 90% safe. But most important, we need points on the board. That's the most important strategy right here, right now. That's the only thing that matters, believe me. And after that, in the new season, we'll sit down again, there's good players on the list, and we'll go at it again. But you are right, if something isn't working, you do have to look for other plans. I understand that as well. I do understand that.
Thank you. Tactical one, and it's just an observation. On Saturday, around about the 40th minute, you switched Lewis Young with David Cisse. Was that just a throw of the dogs, or was that a logical pre-planned thought?
I asked them why they switch aside.
Because they switched on.
There is a reason, because in the side ball, we put the strong foot on the side of the ball. In that position, what I asked them, those which until the ball doesn't go out, then the ball went out, they were performing. I left them because we are working with the wing back on both sides. Then I'm asking you, I know you love me because you text me every night. What do you mean experienced manager? When you say experienced manager, because otherwise I'm not upset, I'm not sensitive at all. My wife can confirm it. James as well. So, what do you mean experience?
Experienced, I would say maybe 5 to 10 years in English football.
Exactly. What do you mean being the English football?
As in top 4 tiers of English football.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Then, so you are meaning know the league, what I have to do, or what a manager knows about the league, the player.
As you pointed out earlier, I would say I would love to have a manager that's been in the top 4 English divisions at some point, because they do know English football. If you've come from Italy or wherever it might be, imagine a different country, the culture of the league is different, okay? And your contacts within the league will be different. I know, Erdem, you've got great contacts in English football, that's fantastic. But as a manager, I think it really helps as well if you've gone through the culture of English football at any level in the top 4 divisions and spent time in that. I think we hope we'd all agree that we'd love to see a manager in the future, after you've got us promoted, etc. To then come in and just that kind of experience.
Yeah, but you didn't answer it.
Pochettino would be good, yeah.
I'm close to Pochettino. What I don't understand is this. I know that a brand new manager, I have to start tomorrow to coach, no, yes, tomorrow. So, but what I'm not getting is not about English football, Italian football, Spanish football. Here we are talking about League 2, League 1, and the Championship. Then, know the Liga, we are talking about Premier League. And what gives you the knowledge is the knowledge of football that you have. So my answer is, when the boys, the gentleman said to me, we don't know how we are going. I already gave you an answer. You said before, you never saw play the team in this way. I think that in the last 6 months, are not my word, the club did a run with this positive environment, and trust me, I'm not a priest. I'm asking again, what do you mean knowing? I have to know every name of the player, the mentality. What do you mean as British mentality or English mentality? Football is football. If you know football, you know football. Then we just...
Thank you, Ewan.
He said me second.
This one for Gabby. He comes over that you are a pretty decent guy, and you've got the players' welfare at heart and everything else. But when they go in at say 1 down, 2 down at half time, nice guy Gabby, has got to suddenly have a switch and come and start throwing the teacups around or whatever you want to do, and leave them in no uncertain terms that they've got to go out and perform. And it just wasn't good enough in the first half. Do you suffer with that? Is it? I don't mean this as a racist thing. Is it a language problem, or is it a make-up problem that you find you can't throw that switch?
More than racism, I will say prejudice. Yes, I am. I'm a lovely man. He's with me every day. no one can see I'm soft in the training or when I'm active with a player. No one. When you say smash board or kick table, almost every day, almost, but that's because it's me. I think we have to wear the mask when you are in your job. And when I'm in my job, I'm demanding. And most than one game we played, apologize for the word, but shit the first half. I remember Cambridge, the home Cambridge, then the other one, Yeovil, home. We could lose 3-4-0, and then the second half, we appeared the Real Madrid of the situation. But Morecambe, for example. Correct. So, this is but for every manager, I think the impression you have outside the pitch is totally different from what you are on the pitch. Honestly, sometimes I'm doing something that I will never do in my normal life. I almost broke one hand where we were in Cambridge before Christmas. You can imagine why. One time I will invite you outside in the dressing room. or maybe it was after the game.
Right. Yes, sir. Just one question about Ricky German. Is he a player for the future, or is he someone who can break through this season?
Obviously, as you like, we are work in progress. So we are working on Ricky, as we work on David, and we're working on Panucci. What we discuss every day is you can't throw one player in one reality, because when I played Ricky German 10 minutes against Port Vale, you could see that was a fish out of the water, you know, we say in Italy. So it wasn't in the context of the situation. So you give them time to adapt at the training session, then slowly put the player inside the pitch. So I hope it will be an end product for this season. But sometimes the surprises are behind the corner. I decide to put in Ashley and Perry 50 minutes at the end. He made the assist, brilliant performance. I played him half an hour with a lot of expectation. He had a poor performance, but not because he's not a good player. Because the young player come from lower league, have up and down. So you have to be passionate to wait them and to let them grow.
Right.
On a supplementary to that, when we went to the JPT, one player stood out, and it was David Cisse. And yet, for 2.5 months, we saw nothing of him. And then suddenly, he starts against Newport, and he's been a revelation. He's a good example of academy football, isn't he? He's composed, confident. What happened in those 10 weeks? Where was he? I mean, in fact, against Southend, he was actually in the way-in with us, cheering the team on.
Before I was in charge, he was in. So when
he played against Tottenham. Paul was at Tottenham, and we didn't see him. And in fact, he was with Brian Galash in the way-in at Southend. So, what was he doing? Then suddenly, he's been a revelation. I just wonder.
It's for sure ironic about the sense of humor.
No, it's not sense of humor. I'm just wondering.
What I'm saying is that when I joined the club, David was a right winger, right fullback.
Yeah.
He didn't catch my eyes. When you arrive in a new club, whatever country you are, you have to listen.
Yeah.
So I talk with the player. I decided to stick with the team setting that won against Lincoln away, and then you have to discover the player. You start to work on the player. And then he said, when I felt that was ready, he showed it. It's too easy to throw one player inside the pitch and say, that's not good, another one. If he has potential, and I've been told that this player has potential, we found out that the player had potential, we worked on the player, and then he was ready. When he was ready, he was really ready. Even if to everyone in Watford you ask, and I have good connection in Watford, then she says playing left wing back, no way. Now he's playing left wing back, we work on him. We argue also with about this position. So it's a work.
Right, last three questions.
I wonder how involved the club is with the local schools. You say Jimmy Smith can't kick a ball, but he could be an ambassador maybe and visit the school. We had a guy a few years ago called Torres. He would have been a diamond to do that. If you don't find players, you can find youngsters. I mean, you walk on Crawley, you see plenty of kids walking around with Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal shirts on. You don't see them wearing Crawley shirts.
Joe, do you want to come in and answer that one actually? Because it's a question about player visits to schools and what have you, and community involvement.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question, but tell you what we're doing tonight.
It was lovely to see Coffee at the Wasp game. I'm just going to throw that out.
Yeah. Sorry, it was a question about community involvement, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, doing a number of things. The first thing was the shirts to schools. I think we banged on about it quite a lot. But with People's Pension last year, so we have a sponsorship agreement with them, obviously. And then we had a bolt-on contract, which was just a 1-year rolling deal, where they said, we'll give it a go. We gave out 1,000 shirts to all the reception kids in Crawley. Every school we wanted to do it, basically. So there's 28 primary schools in the town. We offered them all the opportunity. Some schools turned it down. I don't know why, I have no idea. I think they just sort of went, saw this. And to be honest, I think the club does have a bit of a negative reputation sometimes within the schools. It's difficult because sometimes you might go into a coaching session and it doesn't work or whatever, and the school goes off, they just can't Crawley Town and it doesn't work. It might be one coach that they had 3 years ago, but it doesn't matter. But also things like the academies that we've had in the past, we've set academies up and folded them a few weeks later. That damages the reputation of the club, but some schools turn it down. But we gave out 1,000 shirts. People's Pension have said we're talking about doing that at the moment. I'm pretty sure we're going to do it again, which will be fantastic. So that's another 1,000 shirts that are going out to the reception kids. So we're trying to do them sort of things. We've set up the School of the Week programme, which we were doing last year, and we go out and give tickets to all the kids in the school. We take Reggie into the school. We do an assembly. The Community Foundation were involved heavily last year. This year it's been a bit more difficult to get involved. There's no funding for it, obviously. People were just doing favours, really, like myself going in and doing it. But it's that sort of thing where we're trying to catch your imagination. Ultimately, it will be the football that dictates whether people will come or not, really. What we need to do is be ready to capitalise on them opportunities. So we're working quite closely with the People's Pension in particular. They're a great sponsor for us financially, but what they are really brilliant at is saying, actually, we'll help you with your marketing. What do you need? We'll come in and run sessions with schools. We'll provide bodies to come and help you, which is absolutely fantastic. So the moment we can get a good run, that's when we need to be there to capture the imagination of the additional crowds and make sure they stay. You remember a couple of years ago we had 3,300 fans come in, and actually really I think we were so focused on the football, this is going way back, we're so focused on make sure on the pitch is brilliant, but actually once the football declines, it's before this ownership, when we sort of get relegated from League One and then we're sort of bumbling around the table, you need more than football to keep people interested. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at, can we get live music in Reds? Can we have more going on around the corner? Can we improve the food? So the food is up for tender around the stadium. Can we improve the food? We're looking at talking to a number of local businesses. Can we improve the catering? Can we improve... we've got a new Reggie. The new Reggie is fantastic. So compared to last year, some people might not see that, but the new Reggie is fantastic. So we're looking at all little things like that are trying to improve matchday experiences for not just for kids, but for adults as well. And it is a long process. It's something that we're, Kelly and I in particular, are turning our attention to a little bit more because we've had a lot of work with stadium, naming rights, things like that. Now that things are done, we've got a blanket canvas basically to try and do that.
We give 200 tickets each game out to the community to give out. So
yeah, 200 tickets.
200 tickets. Most probably average 30, 40.
Oh no.
30 or 40 people turn up out of them 200 tickets. So, but we do keep trying, and if the community asks for more, we give them more. Any schools that want free tickets, I'm happy to give the schools. But yeah, so we are trying our hardest to get them through the gates.
I think the one thing that we really want to do is try and set up like a committee of fans for off the field issues. So not necessarily to sit in a forum like this, but sit around the table and come up, talk about an issue for that particular evening. So it could be right marketing. I see we get a lot of hassle about we don't market the club enough. Really difficult. Brighton, for example, huge budgets to market. We don't really have a marketing budget. We work off of favours, we work off of contra deals. You give us something, we'll give you something in return, that sort of thing. But getting a group of people around and go, okay, what would work? What ideas have you got? We haven't got necessarily a marketing department. We used to have Tom who did it on an internship. He's now working closely with the first team. But what ideas, what connections have people got in this room? People will have connections where I can give you this space, or I can give you this contact, that we can work together. It might be another evening we go, right, let's talk about catering. Okay, catering's up for 10. Now, what would you like to see? Someone might have a contact, or they might have an idea that actually is brilliant. So if anybody's interested in sort of being a part of that, I want a variety. I don't want the same people, I don't want the same faces. I want people who sit in the West Stand and buy a cup of tea every game. I want people who stand in the terrace and swear at Gabby every game. I want people who sit on the halfway line, particularly on them. I want people who sit on the halfway line and bang a drum. I want people from all over the ground to get a sort of a whole, rather than the same, because we do get the same faces here as the forums before. We want people, particularly maybe who aren't as engaged with the club, try and get them involved, because they're the people we really need to be talking to. Most of them here would buy a season ticket regardless of what happens. We need the people who are on the and who are on the fence. So yeah, if anyone wants to get involved in that, please do. Please encourage other people to get involved in it as well.
Well done, Cops.
Right, we've got one more question. Yes, sir, you at the back.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that managers are never happy. You want to stand on the terraces with me? Do fans' opinions make any difference to you? Do you, I don't know, do you feel we're too fickle? Do you feel we're too short-term? All of you, really. Too knee-jerk?
I think the fans' opinions are the most important, because you guys have seen many years, and I always talk to Kelly about this as well. We're all servants of the club. You know, we're here to serve. Everyone leaves a legacy. Paul here before, I know pretty well, because I negotiated with him for hours on end, and you know, he served the club very well as well, and he's an important servant, and we have to try and do the best to be the servant and to make you guys happy. I know it's a bit hard at the moment. I know fans can be very harsh at times, but however, you have to understand that, you know, you guys who come to every game religiously, the guys that travel away, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's tough when you go to Carlisle, you know, 9 hours, you go up, there's traffic issues, and within the first 15 minutes you're losing 3-0. It's not a good thing, but to round up this answer, I think the fans are very, very important, and whatever you say is always welcome. That's why this board has invited CTSA to board meetings, had frank discussions always, been willing to answer everything. I think we've always tried to be transparent and open, tried to discuss if there's something wrong. We've always tried to interact, because interaction does bring innovation. So I think as a club, I mean on our behalf, I believe the fans are probably the most important thing of a club. It's the heartbeat.
Last question. Can I just make an observation?
Yes, sir.
Right. Apart from Steve Evans, you are the first manager here that's got contact with the crowd. I'd like your idea of you coming to the crowd after you. I don't expect that we've lost 3-0, but in the East Stand, we do appreciate the players coming up after the game and doing the old wave and all that. Yeah. It's very. You're the first manager who's done that for us. But well done. Yeah.
On a positive note, thank you, gentlemen, Erdem, Selim, Gabby, and Nathan, especially Nathan. What Joe just mentioned about a marketing subcommittee, I suppose, with fans. Joe's just round the corner there next to Kelly. If you're interested, you've got some ideas. Look, we're always welcome. What Joe said earlier, you know, get gates up. And I appreciate that it's, at the end of the day, it's down to the product on the pitch, but anything we can do, you know, getting another 100, 250 people here on average every week makes a massive difference financially, and obviously it gives Gabby more money and Selim more money to go and spend on the squad. Thanks very much for coming, and have a safe journey home. Thank you.